Hey guys, it's Darwin. So lately I've been getting a ton of questions about what I wear during a long distance hike. So today we're going to do a full breakdown of my clothes setup for my 2018 Thru-Hike of the PCT. So as most of you know, I typically like to shoot out on the trail, in the woods, trail side, but unfortunately yesterday my van got broke into when I was parked at a trailhead to do a day hike. So looks like we're going to be filming here in the backyard, but hey, at least we're outside, there's a tree, there's some plants, so that's not too bad. So today I figured we would do a full breakdown of what I plan to take with me on my 2018 PCT Thru-Hike. Now this clothes setup is pretty similar to what I carried in 2016 on the Appalachian Trail and what I usually carry when I do small sections of the Continental Divide Trail and the Arizona Trail. Now obviously this clothes setup isn't going to work for everybody, but it's what's worked for me for the past few years, so here we go. So since I'll be doing a northbound hike, I'll be starting from the Mexican border, and that first 700 miles of trail will be pretty much all desert all the way till I get to Kennedy Meadows. So there are some pieces of clothing that I'll wear in that first 700 miles and then send it home when I get to Kennedy Meadows. So let's start off with the clothes that'll be on me while I'm hiking. First up is a pair of hiking pants. Now I use the Cool Renegade hiking pant, which this pair is a little bit heavy, weighing in at 12.2 ounces. And I don't typically hike in pants, I'm totally a short guy, but for that first 700 miles of the desert, I've learned my lesson before, got some really gnarly sunburn, so I'll be using these for that extra sun protection, and then when I get to Kennedy Meadows, sending them home. So along with those pants, I'll be wearing the Ex Officio briefs. Now again, I don't typically use an underwear on the trail because I do use running shorts when I typically hike, and they have an underwear liner. So again, I'll be sending these home in Kennedy Meadows, but I'm going to start out with them just because they're a little bit more comfortable with those hiking pants. And not too shabby on weight, only weighing in at 2 ounces for the pair. Next up is the shirt that I'll be wearing, and not necessarily just for that first 700 miles, but also all the way to the Canada border, and that's my Columbia Silver Ridge long sleeve hiking shirt. I absolutely love this thing. It's super airy, super breathable, great sun protection. I can wear it as a long sleeve or I can roll the sleeves up. It has great UV protection built in, and it only weighs 6.8 ounces. So 6.8 ounces for a long sleeve shirt that can do all that is not bad. Next up are my socks, and for the majority of the time I'll be wearing the Darn Tough ankle high merino wool socks. I love Darn Tough socks, and I usually wear the full crew, but I've decided that I want to start going with a little bit lower of a sock since I typically roll them down under my gaiters anyways. These guys weigh in at 2.2 ounces for the pair. They're great when it's cold outside because they keep my feet warm, and they're great when it's hot outside because they keep my feet from sweating and keep them dry. And then under my Darn Tough socks, I'll be using the Wigwam Cool Max sock liner. Now, I've explained in a ton of my videos, I'm a huge sock liner fan for a ton of different reasons. Number one, they keep my feet from sweating, and then the biggest benefit is they help keep those hot spots down and help to prevent blisters. And at only 1.7 ounces for the pair, I'm definitely going to be taking these guys with me. Over my socks, I'll be wearing my Dirty Girl Trail Gaiters, which I've been using for a handful of years now and love these things. I've had a ton of different gaiters, and Dirty Girls are definitely my favorite pick. Only 1.2 ounces for the pair, and they're awesome to keep sands and rocks out of my shoe when I'm in the desert and for any other part of the trail. Next up is my buff, and this one in particular is my favorite buff, the one that I carry the entire length of the Appalachian Trail. It's been on the Continental Divide Trail, it's been on the Arizona Trail, it's been all over the country, and I wouldn't go anywhere without it. At only 1.5 ounces for a buff, it has a stupid amount of uses, and if you don't know much about the buff, do your research, get one. Every hiker needs one of these. And then last but not least, I'm a meshback hat guy, or a trucker hat, so I'll be carrying my brand new Z-Packs meshback hat to keep my hair back, to let my head breathe, and to keep the sun out of my eyes. Alright, so again, those are the clothes that I'll be wearing while I'm hiking, and when I get to Kennedy Meadows, I will be sending those pants and those ex officio briefs home and switching mainly to shorts. Now I know what you're saying, but Darwin, you're going into the Sierras, you need pants, your legs might get cold. What the hell are you thinking? Well, I'm a big fan of doing the Thru-Hiking layering system. So what does that mean? I carry a pair of running shorts that have the underwear built into them, and I carry a pair of thermal tights. That way I can use them as shorts, and if I get cold, I can put the tights on underneath. And I've been in some crazy low temperatures with that setup, and it's always worked great for me. All right, so next up is what's gonna be on my back and in my clothes bag. As I said, I wear running shorts when I hike, and I use the Nike Pro Combat running short that has that brief built right into the short. Super lightweight at only 3.9 ounces for the pair, and I've worn these things everywhere. These are my favorite shorts, and most of the time my legs don't really get cold when I hike. It's mainly my upper. But if I do get cold and get into some higher elevations where I need some more warmth on my legs, that's where these guys come in, my Nike Pro Combat thermal tights. At 6.3 ounces, they're probably a little bit heavier than some other tights out on the market that a lot of thru hikers like. But I've had these guys for years. They've been the entire length of the Appalachian Trail. They've been on every other trail with me. They're super comfortable. They keep my legs crazy warm, and I've had them for years, so it's not like I had to buy a new piece of gear. Now again, at 6.3 ounces for the pair, are they a little heavier than some other ones? Sure, but I absolutely love them, and it's one thing that I won't give up, at least not until they completely fall apart. So next up is an alternative shirt that I'll keep in my pack that I can switch out, hike in some days, but mainly what I'll use to sleep in and hang around camp, which is my icebreaker merino wool t-shirt. I absolutely love this thing. It's super comfortable. It's great at wicking sweat. It's antimicrobial. So if it's been days since I've taken a bath and I stink like crazy, you can't really tell in this. It keeps me warm when it's cold outside, and it cools me off when it's hot outside. Merino wool is a perfect fabric. I'm convinced of it. It only weighs 3.9 ounces for the shirt, so it's definitely going with me. I have an extra pair of darn tough socks and an extra pair of the Wigwam liners. These guys mainly as a camp sock when I'm at camp to get those old ones off, and these guys to switch back and forth with my other pair every day to make sure my feet aren't getting too nasty. Now some people will carry more than one extra set of socks. However, every trail that I've ever done, it's all I've ever needed, so I'm just taking one extra pair. Next up are for some items when it gets a little chillier outside or at night at camp, and that's my Outdoor Research Transcendent Down Beanie, which is crazy warm and only weighs 1 ounce. Only 1 ounce for this thing. It's super comfortable. A lot of times when it's cold outside, I'll sleep with it on, and it packs down crazy small. And a set of Mountain Hardwear lightweight liner gloves. Now they're not a heavy duty glove, but they're just enough to keep my hands warm. I don't typically like a heavier glove because they usually make my hands sweat. I really only use these in the early morning or at night before I start getting hiking, before my hands start to warm up. Plus they only weigh 1.4 ounces for the pair, so these guys are going with me just in case it gets chilly. All right, last up are my jackets, and number one is going to be my Mount Hardwear Ghost Whisperer hooded jacket. I absolutely love this thing. I've owned a ton of down jackets to date, and this has been my favorite. It's crazy lightweight, it's really well built, it has a hood, it keeps me super warm, and it only weighs 8.2 ounces, which is incredible for a down jacket. And then for my rain jacket, I have my tried and true, trusted Outdoor Research Helium HD 2 jacket. This thing has been with me everywhere, all over the Appalachian Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, the Arizona Trail, bike packing trips, day hikes, traveling to national parks. I have put this thing through the ringer, and it is one of my favorite articles of gear that I own to date. It weighs 9.4 ounces, and I'm sure there's some lighter rain jackets out on the market, but for now, this is definitely my number one pick for a great rain shell and a great shell to go over my down jacket whenever I start experiencing some colder temps. Now it is kind of starting to fall apart since it has a ton of miles on it, so there is a possibility that I could be trading it out and buying a different rain jacket, but for now this is my pick and it's definitely going with me. Alright guys, so to sum it all up, the clothes that will be on me when I start from the Mexican border for that first 700 miles is going to weigh in at 1.8 pounds, which obviously that'll go down when I get to Kennedy Meadows since I am going to be sending those pants and underwear home. And then in my pack, the clothes plus my jackets, plus the Z-Pack stuff sack that I use, the weight comes in at 2.3 pounds for that setup. So not too shabby considering all of the articles of clothing that I have and all of the different conditions that I have covered. Now, like I said, it's possible that I could trim a little bit of weight out of that, and time will tell. You know, we do still have until April, but for now it's a pretty awesome setup for me that I've tested on the Continental Divide Trail, and I'll be taking out on the Arizona Trail in October. So if you were doing the same hike, what are some articles of clothing that you wouldn't take, and what are some things that you would put in their place? Leave me something in the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. If you haven't got a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I'm posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thanks for watching.